All right, let me refresh my laptop here, see if I can find out what is going on. Let's see who'll be first in the comment here. Let's see. All right, I have it up. Oh, let me turn off my microphone so I don't get an echo here. All right, we are live. What is going on? One thumbs up already. Awesome. All right. Let's see if we have more people than yesterday. Yesterday, I think we only had a maximum of like 73 people or something like that. And the weekend before, I think the max was like 118, which is kind of crazy. It's like the most I've ever had. Hey, what is up, Jay? You are the first question, Jay Quinn. All right. If you have 0 snakes, what would be your first breeding pair that you bought? So if I had 0 snakes, probably what I would do is I would start buying females first, because sometimes it takes a while for your females to get up to size. Or if you bought like fully mature females, you could buy a male then. But usually, if you're just starting out, a lot of times you'd want to buy like juvenile or hatchling females and sit on them for a while before you bred them. Rob Lilly, what is up? You're number 2, the second comment. All right. All right. D Boyle, big fan. You're one of the main ones who got me in the hobby. Good. Yes, ball pythons can be extremely addicting. First time you caught the stream. Awesome. Just bought a snake today. Cool. 2 albino black pastel. That's a good combination because the black pastel really makes a high white albino. Pretty impressive combination with the albino and the black pastel. Mary Jo, how's it going? One of my biggest fans. Thank you. Let's see. Earth Central, ball python of the Woma morph. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see. What's up, my animal house? Early on the stream. All right. What genes would I pick if I was just starting out? Probably what I would do is actually, of course, I'm biased. I'd probably do bamboos because I'm kind of partial to Bobby and the bamboos. A lot of people start with like the pieds or the clowns. A lot of people recommend those 2 as one of your first snakes as far as, you know, kind of getting into ball pythons. I would probably go with something more like a co-dominant. Probably what I'd buy is I'd buy some females that were like just single genes, 1 or 2 genes, even normal females. And then I'd buy males that have like multiple genes, like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 gene males, and work them into those females. Then you get a whole rainbow of different stuff. Let's see. Why do some blue-eyed leucistics have blue eyes with red pupils? That's a good question. So I've actually seen some blue-eyed leucistics with red pupils. I'm not sure exactly what causes the red pupils on some of the blue-eyed leucistics, but I did notice that there are some blue-eyed leucistics that kind of have like a reddish center to the eye, which is pretty interesting. What would you pair with a bamboo in the blue-eyed leucistic complex? Pretty much anything. Love your videos, by the way. Thank you. So yeah, probably what I do is, well, I do the bamboo. I actually breed my bamboos to the lessers, which is a pretty awesome combination. You can do a bamboo to a bamboo and make the super bamboo, which would be probably one of your most expensive blue-eyed leucistics if you're doing that. Of course, a female bamboo is kind of hard to come by, especially an adult. You probably couldn't find an adult female bamboo. You'd pretty much have to buy a hatchling and grow it up. Do you have a recommendation for a first ball python? I would probably get a female. If you're thinking about breeding, I would definitely get a female so you can kind of sit on it and grow it up a little bit before you breed it. As far as the genes, it really depends on your taste. Some people like the really bright genes. Some people like the dark genes. So for the bright genes, if I actually just was getting like a pet for my first one, I'd probably do like a super orange dream or something like that. which would be pretty awesome. Like a high intensity super orange dream, that would be pretty bright. Or you could do like the orange dream, yellow belly, pastel, fire combination to make some really, get a really super bright snake. All right, let's see. Yes, back for another live. So yeah, I was wondering if I was going to do more lives next weekend or maybe just take a break on the lives. I know the lives don't do really well here on YouTube. It's kind of interesting interacting with people, answering a lot of questions, but I'm thinking this may be my last live for a while. And it's kind of interesting just to kind of break stuff up doing lives. Would you go albino super lesser or albino super black pastel? So that would make, so the albino super lesser would be a cherry bomb, which would be one of the whitest bright snakes with the red eyes. But if you actually went the super black pastel with the albino, that is, I believe that's the cue ball, the super black pastel albino, or is it the cue ball could be the 8-ball with the albino. It's similar to the cue ball, but essentially what you get with the super black pastel albino, you'd actually get kind of the checkering of the yellow on the snake. You wouldn't get a really super white snake like you get with the super lesser albino. It'd be a cherry bomb, but you'd see a little bit of the yellow kind of speckling, kind of breaking through. So it'd be a little bit different between the two. What do you think of the ARS 5540? I do have some 5540s. Those are the ones right behind me, right back here. And the 5540s are pretty good, except eventually you'll get ball pythons that outgrow the 5540s. So I wouldn't fill your whole snake room with 5540s. I've seen a lot of people do it. And essentially, in order to do that, you'd have to keep selling a lot of your older snakes and making room for a lot of your younger ones and kind of keep pushing forward in a lot of the kind of the new stuff coming out. You'd have to kind of replace it. Or essentially what I do is I actually use the ARS 7030s as pretty much the permanent house for a lot of your older ball pythons. Do I keep anything besides ball pythons? I actually have 2 reticulated pythons. I have Sunny, which is about a 45-pound purple albino reticulated python, and Lucy, she weighs almost 100 pounds now. She's a really big girl. But other than that, I pretty much have all ball pythons. Hey, love your channel. What did you do for your startup cost to get into ball pythons? You talk about ducks, but what ducks did you do? So I actually do ducks again. I actually have Cayuga ducks. I have some Pekin ducks and some Muscovies, but I'm doing mainly Cayuga ducks and black Australorps as far as my birds. As far as getting into ball pythons, I actually started with wire racks and glass aquariums. And I started with kind of a whole hodgepodge of different snakes. I had king snakes, and I had an Australian Woma python and a bunch of stuff. And it was only up until probably the end of the first year I decided to sell pretty much everything and get solely into just ball pythons at that point. It was like every time I had extra money, I would buy another ball python. It was like, you get in that obsession until you really get into it. And then when I started selling some snakes, I can actually use a lot of that money to reinvest in a lot of my racking system. That's where a lot of my racks came from. Let's see. I have an 8-month ball python. Live mouse is not enough for weekly feeding. What do I feed next? So yeah, so if you're feeding live, hey, we got a super chat. Thank you, Elijah Snyder, my very first super chat. As a matter of fact, I did a live stream yesterday with no super chats, which is kind of the first time that's ever happened, which is kind of crazy. So, so for this, let me answer this question about the rat pups. If you're doing live, what I would actually do is I would probably do like a live mouse, feed a live mouse first, and then wait about half an hour until that snake has completely consumed that live mouse, and then try to trick them, maybe follow up with a frozen thawed rat. You can actually buy the rats online. Like if you actually go to Rodent Pro or something like that, you can buy them as far as like a frozen thaw, but I definitely try to get over to a frozen thaw so you're not stuck with live all the time. And usually if you feed a mouse something live first, a lot of times you can actually trick them into eating something right after that. A lot of times they kind of get in that crazed feeding mode, and they'll definitely pretty much snap at anything. All right, let's see. Let's go down to the super chat question. Have you done any testing with companies like Fishhead Labs, Vet DNA for diseases like the nidovirus? No, I haven't actually done it. As a matter of fact, I've had some people buy some of my ball pythons, and they're like the condition of me buying your snake is I'm gonna actually buy your snake and get it tested at a lab. And I was like, that's fine. If anything's wrong with my ball pythons, you can feel free to, I'd gladly take it back. And then I know that I had a problem. But I've actually had some people test some of my snakes, and I've never had a problem. I've never really gone through and tested all my snakes either. So knock on wood, no sick snakes here in my collection. All right. Oh, lots of questions. All right. Let's see. All right. I want to go down to the new stuff here. All right. Jaden. Hi, Chris. I'm a huge fan. What is up? Back porch pythons. The body bag gene is what I'm calling my dinker. So, yeah, you kind of have to be careful naming new genes. Sometimes you can name them names that are kind of on the dark side, and it doesn't really appeal to the greater public. As a matter of fact, if you actually look at the difference between the banana and the coral glow, I think there's a lot more bananas that sell just because of the name banana, even though the coral glow is pretty much exactly the same. I think the banana is a little bit more appealing. So a lot of times you want to look for something that's really appeasing to the masses as far as naming your genes. Sometimes the name can work against you in some of these morphs. Let's see, Mary Jo, ball pythons are addictive. How many do you have? I actually have just under 45. I think I was like at 46 or 47. And then I sold, I think, 3 of them. So that's how it's changing. It seems like it's always changing. Like I run out of money or something, I need to sell some, or produce a whole bunch of hatchlings, and then I get like 50 or 100 more. And, I think the most I've ever had here in my reptile room is like 135 or something like that. If I fill every tub in my whole room, I think it's 152 tubs in my reptile room with every single tub here. And it's usually, I don't have that much anymore because I used to kind of hold back all my hatchlings for the next reptile show, and then I'd unload them at the reptile show. And now I sell them on Morphmarket, so most of these hatchling tubs are completely empty. As a matter of fact, I didn't even fill this ARS 1065 that's right over here last year because I sell them so fast over on Morphmarket. All right, let's see. What is your funniest snake story? As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to tell a pretty interesting snake story on my video. Probably the funniest one is I actually had a snake that escaped here in my house, and I never did find it. I had this really tiny little, it was Arizona, no, it was the Desert Phase California king snake, the black and white one. And it was super skinny, like as skinny as the pencil. And it actually got out between the tub and the rack. It was so super skinny. And I lost it in my house and never did find that snake. And a lot of people actually won't come over to my house because I have a loose snake in the house that I lost. Like, it's been like years. It's probably been 3 years since I lost that snake. I'm sure it hasn't survived. It probably got down in the vents or something, which is kind of crazy. Is breeding Lucy's worth it? So blue-eyed leucistic, yes, it would be a really good seller. If you could breed blue-eyed leucistics, I would definitely think that breeding blue-eyed leucistics, if you took like a, blue-eyed leucistic, bred to a blue-eyed leucistic and got a whole clutch, you could definitely make some good money, and I bet they would sell really fast. It would be a good breeding. What can you breed to get an albino ball python? So albino is a recessive. So you have to breed 2 albinos together to get an albino, or you breed a visual to a het albino, you get 50%, or you can breed 2 het albinos together and you'll get 25% visual albinos. All right, Bobby's getting a little crazy around my shoulder. This is Bobby, my bamboo ball python. All right, let's see. Lots of questions. Wow. How many people are we up to? 65. Cool. With a $5 super chat. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go an hour. It looks like we're about 15 minutes, so another 45 minutes on the live. What can bananas make? Probably my favorite bananas, I would say probably Enchi bananas and leopard bananas are pretty cool. Confusion bananas are pretty awesome too. Anything that really breaks up the pattern of the banana is pretty cool. Because keep in mind the banana, it pretty much dominates the color of all your combinations. So you're really looking for some genes that can really scramble up the banana pattern. So you can actually use like spider or Enchi, confusion, spot nose, all those genes, like a super pastel can kind of really scramble up the pattern. All those would work really well with your bananas. Let's see. Is it normal that my pied never tried to become a ball when I'm touching his head? Yes, some ball pythons really don't ball up. Hey, we got another super chat. All right, thank you, Troy. Thank you. Yeah, so sometimes if you get really tame ball pythons, they never ball up. Like Bobby here has never got scared enough to form a ball. It usually takes one that's pretty scared as far as balling up into a ball. So the super chat, why are reptiles referred to as a collection? This is a good, some people collect, beer cans, some people collect stamps, and some people collect ball pythons. It's extremely addictive collecting snakes, which is kind of crazy. And ball pythons are super low maintenance. I think that's why you can have a lot of them, and it really doesn't take a lot of time to actually take care of a lot of ball pythons because they eat maybe once a week, maybe once a month, and they're perfectly fine. How can you tell what type of banana you have? That's a good question. Sometimes the banana can completely mask all the other genes, and sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. Do I plan on going to Tinley this year? Probably not this year. It really depends on what's going on with the whole virus and the masks and all the regulations and everything. We'll see. I mean, if they can completely cure the virus by this fall, I might go to Tinley, which would be pretty awesome. Let's see. What's the darkest and healthiest solid black ball python? So there's only really a few ways you can make a solid black ball python, and that is either the super cinnamon or the super black pastel or the 8-ball, which is the combination of the cinnamon and the black pastel. And I've actually heard that you have less genetic deformities if you have an 8-ball versus the super black pastel or the super cinnamon. So probably the best and the darkest would be the 8-ball with the cinnamon and the super black pastel. Ken Campbell. Hi, Chris. We have our first expo in April. I want to get an albino, orange, and white. You think I'll have any luck? That is a good question. So, yeah, some of the albinos can be orange and white. Usually, if you actually mix an albino with a dark gene, you'll get a high white albino, and a lot of times it'll actually bring out a lot of the oranges. So if you actually get something like an albino black pastel or an albino cinnamon or an albino blackhead or albino mahogany, all those can actually increase the amount of orange in your albinos. Hey, we got another super chat. Thank you, Lenny. All right, what would be a good match for cinnamon Enchi pin? So let's see. So you have cinnamon, Enchi, and pinstripes. So cinnamon is actually allelic. Oh, well, keep in mind. Oh, okay. So this is kind of interesting. We just recently found out that cinnamon and Enchi is an allelic combination. So if you breed a cinnamon Enchi to something else, half the offspring will come out cinnamon and half will come out Enchi, which is kind of limits the variety that you'll actually get with that combination, which is kind of wild. And keep in mind, the cinnamon is allelic with Enchi. I would assume that it's also allelic with black pastel and also allelic with head red axanthic and allelic with the Lori gene, which is kind of interesting. So you have to be careful breeding that to anything else. But probably what I would do is, for the pinstripe, you can actually breed it to a pastel. For like a lemon blast, you could breed it to a bamboo. The bamboo pinstripes look kind of metallic. You could actually breed the Enchi into like a banana, the banana inchies look really good. The cinnamon, you can breed it into like a black pastel and get the 8-ball. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that combination. Let's see. I noticed Enchi will bring out oranges in any of the albinos. Yeah, I've noticed that too, which is kind of interesting. Can a banana make a pied or a blue-eyed Lucy? No, the banana, it gets a little bit confusing with all the genes, but a blue-eyed leucistic, the all-white snake, the only way you can make a real blue-eyed leucistic is using 2 genes in the blue-eyed leucistic complex, and you pretty much have to know which genes are in the blue-eyed leucistic as far as making. There's actually like the Mojave, the Lesser, the Russo, the Bamboo, this snake that I have around my neck, this is in the blue-eyed leucistic complex, and you need 2 genes of any gene in the blue-eyed leucistic to make the all-white snake. There's other ways you can make a white snake. So for example, so the pied's also a completely separate gene. You can't make it with the banana. I was trying to think of you can make a white snake with the banana, and nothing really comes to mind as far as working other genes into the banana to make an all-white snake. Hey, we got a couple more super chats. Wow, doing pretty good. Mary Jo, thank you. Let's see. Let's scroll down here on my computer. They pop up on my phone up here. I'm recording on my phone and they kind of go away. So Mary Jo says, do you find reptile shows or online sales better? So if I'm actually buying a snake, most of the time I'll actually buy online because I have a better selection and I can find exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes you'll pay a little bit more online. You're taking a little bit more risk. And sometimes you're taking a risk as far as, the health of the snake too. But, personally, I would love to go to the reptile show and actually hold it and take a really good look at it. Make sure there's no mites, make sure there's no kinks or anything like that in the snake. But the problem is a lot of times you go to the reptile shows and you'll have maybe, a few hundred snakes to choose from versus if you go to Morphmarket and you have like hundreds of thousands of choices to choose from. So it really depends. If I can go to a reptile show and find a snake that I really am interested in, I definitely prefer a reptile show. All right, 247 Combat. Thank you for the super chat. Have a clown pied 66% lavender albino. Help me pick a male. I found a lavender het clown, 50% het pied, or clown 100% het lavender, 100% het pied. All right, so you have a clown pied. Wow. So if you have a visual clown pied, that's a pretty expensive combination. 66% het lavender. So somebody's going for the triple visuals on that. Got really close. The clown pied, 66% lavender, which is pretty awesome. I'm actually working on kind of a similar project. I actually have triple hets that I'm growing up with the clown, the pied, and the albino, not the lavender albino. So, hey, got another super chat. Thank you. All right. So let me think about this question here. So help me pick a male. I found a lavender het clown, 50% het pied, or a clown, 100% het lavender, 100% het pied. I would definitely go with a clown, 100% het lav, 100% het pied, because you know for sure those genes are in the mix and that you'll probably hit it if you can actually prove out the 66%. I would not probably go with another 50% on top of your 66% if you're trying to get the triple visual. If you actually hit that triple visual, that would be a really expensive combination. All right, Jay Quinn, do you think the ball python business is becoming saturated with breeders? I don't think so. There's people have been asking this question for the last 20 years, and it seems like the ball python industry keeps getting more and more popular with more and more, especially with all the new combinations and the new genes coming out. I think that's what really drives a lot of the progress of the ball python industry. I would think if there's no new genes at a certain point, it would get completely saturated. But it seems like every year we're getting multiple new genes. Some of them are pretty impressive. It's pretty much worldwide where we're finding new genes in Europe, new genes in the United States. And then those are actually working into all the other combinations, which, it's like an unlimited amount of combinations. So I don't think it really depends on how many people are breeding it. There's a lot of business to go around in the ball python industry. I don't think it'll ever get saturated. All right, let's see. Hi, I'm trying to breed snakes. Do you have any advice? Yes, watch all my videos. Oh, Bobby's choking me out. Oh, what's going on, Bobby? Yeah, I pretty much took all my knowledge, everything I learned, and put it in my over 1,100 videos on YouTube. So if you have any questions about pretty much any topic, you can go ahead and search YouTube. I'll probably have something. If you don't find it, you can actually recommend, hey, can you do this video? And I'll add it to my collection of Ball Python videos. I'm always looking for topics to do new videos. Let's see. You once showed a bamboo in your collection that looked like it had hieroglyphics. What genes does it have? Yeah, that was, I pull it out right now, but it's actually breeding. I have her paired up right now. Hopefully she'll actually lay, which is pretty awesome. I'm actually breeding that one to my banana inchy clown, which is pretty awesome. So that one was actually a bamboo lemon blast with the banana, the pastel, and the pinstripe. So I could potentially, out of that pairing, I could actually get a banana, inchy, bamboo, pastel, pinstripe, het clown. That would be such a powerful video, especially if it was a male to hit all those genes. I would definitely hold that one back. Especially if it was het clown and I could breed it through my collection, that would be an incredible combination. Tips on selling snakes. Yeah, it's just what I do is I just post them over on Morphmarket and they go super fast. Or a lot of times if you're just starting out, doing the reptile shows is I pretty much unload snakes the fastest. When I started out doing reptile shows, I can go to a reptile show and have like an 8-foot table with like 60 snakes, and I'd sell anywhere from like 20 to 30 snakes in a weekend doing a reptile show. It's pretty crazy selling snakes, and it's super easy too because you don't have to worry about shipping or all the emails and the constant communication and miscommunication with 30 different people. It's just really quick and fast at the reptile show. So I definitely try to do some of the reptile shows. Did I ever pick up any leopards? No, I still don't have any leopards here in my collection. Can you fix scale route? I've never had scale route. I've had some people ask if I could do a video on scale route, but I don't really know anything about it. And I'd prefer not to do a lot of the medical videos because I'm really not a veterinarian. And a lot of times I just pretty much recommend to bring it to a veterinarian because a lot of times they'll actually have prescription medication or like injections, like shots or something that they can do. So I would definitely bring it to a veterinarian. Love these lives. It's nice to see you're interacting. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I've been doing lives Saturday and Sunday for the last couple weekends. And it's pretty interesting. Let me tell you, my YouTube channel does not like it. It seems like I don't have the views and I'm not really getting the traction from the lives, but it's definitely a good change. I was thinking maybe this will be my last live for a while and go back to just the regular videos. Hopefully soon here, I'll actually get some eggs and I can show putting some eggs in the incubator, which would be pretty exciting. All right, let's come down to the bottoms. 76 people watching, only 33 likes. Yes. You can like this video. Yeah. It doesn't really matter to me if you like it or not. So yeah, so I think the likes do promote the videos in the long term. But yeah, 75. So yesterday, I think we had 73 at maximum. So we're already over the max. I think the most I had ever on a live stream was last weekend. We had 118, which is kind of crazy. Hey, 41 likes. Nice. 42. All right. Getting some likes. All right. Let's see. What are some tips for someone switching over to racks? Good question. Hey, we got another super chat. Thank you. All right, so let me answer this rack question. So it's kind of interesting. When I switched to racks, when I went from the glass aquariums with the hides over to these racking systems, let me tell you, it was like night and day between the appetite of my ball pythons and how they were really, it seemed like as soon as I put them in the rack system, they just started eating like crazy and they were super happy. Even my meanest snakes really mellowed out in a rack system for whatever reason, especially in these gray tubs in the ARS. They just kind of really mellowed out and they absolutely love the racks. A lot of people say, you know, it's better to put them in an aquarium because it seems like it's more humane for the ball python, but for some reason they just absolutely love the racking system, which is kind of crazy. All right, let's go down to this super chat. Let's see. Adam, thank you, Adam. Hi, Chris, to your knowledge, have they created a candy clown? I'm not sure. I may have seen a candy clown. I'm not quite, I can't remember. I've done a lot of more videos. I remember talking about the candy clown, but I can't remember if they actually made one. And if I've seen it over on Morphmarket. If they have, I'm guessing it's probably one of a kind, or maybe there's only one or two of them, but the candy is not really that popular as far as the gene. So mixing it with something like clown would be really kind of not very popular. Hey, got another super chat. All right, thank you, Precise 4. I have a pied female. I have a female pied and a female candy. Any advice on male pairings for first project? I have a male banana pinstripe, male coral glow, and male orange dream het pied. So let's see, female pied and female candy. So yeah, so keep in mind with the snakes that you have, you can keep changing them up every year, so it doesn't really matter on the first year. So yeah, so with the pieds and the candy, you're just going to get hets. So anything you breed to them, you won't actually see the pied and the candy unless you breed it with the male orange dream het pied. I would probably take that male orange dream het pied and work it into your female pied for your first pairing. And then you have a pinstripe and a coral glow. Let's see. So the coral glow with the candy might be kind of hard because a lot of times the coral glow is so visually dominant. If you actually did make a candy coral glow, you actually may not see that much of an effect from the candy. What I would probably do is I'd do it's actually a banana pinstripe. So you have the coral glow and the banana. I would probably do the male banana pinstripe with the candy for the best combinations on that one. But for that candy, probably what I do is I would get, if you actually have a visual candy, a female, I would probably get another male candy and have a whole clutch of candies. That would be a really high-end clutch. The candies are pretty expensive, still pretty expensive, which is kind of crazy. I remember the Harley live streams. Yes, we were doing the nonstop Harley live streams, 12 hours. Yeah, that was crazy. I'll definitely never do that again. I did get the bike. I've been working on the bike. I found out, as a matter of fact, I was working on the Harley today. I found out that the gas gauge doesn't work, which is a common thing on Harleys, which is kind of crazy. But it does have a little trip odometer that I can kind of keep an eye on. So I'm kind of going through the whole thing, fixing all the little problems. Hey, we got another super chat. All right, Bradley Connor. Possibilities of a kingpin and a blue-eyed leucistic. So the kingpin is the lesser and the pinstripe, and then the blue-eyed leucistic. Yeah, so Mojave GHI. So yeah, you could definitely do a kingpin with a blue-eyed leucistic. Yeah, to get more blue-eyed leucistics. Mojave GHI. Yeah, so that would be a good combination actually. Let's see, am I ever going to breed other reptiles besides ball pythons? I'm not sure on that one. I'm trying to breed my reticulated pythons. I've been trying to breed them for years, which I haven't had any success yet. Lucy is not laying any eggs so far. All right, so let's see. I learned how to pop from watching a ton of videos. So yeah, so I actually talked to my veterinarian about probing versus popping, and she recommended never to pop. Essentially what you do is you kind of pop out the hemipines from the back of the snake, and you kind of pop out the hemipines. I've actually seen some old breeders that have the technique down where they can just grab any snake and pop them out. But the problem is I've actually been selling snakes at some of the reptile shows, and a lot of people will bring up snakes and they're like, hey, I've been trying to pop the snake over and over and over 20 times, and I cannot for the life of me pop out the hemipines. And the problem is if you don't, especially if you don't know what you're doing, and if you have a female and you keep trying to pop the hemipines, you could technically damage the snake back in the back of the snake. So that's why they say you should always probe them. Take a metal probe and put it in the pocket of the hemipene, and it's really super easy to just put the metal probe in, and there's no risk of actually injuring the animal. But let me tell you, if you're an old timer and you've been popping hemipines, it's really safe and fast, and it's pretty much the easiest way you can do it if you actually know what you're doing. All right, let's see. What's one of my fastest moving combos to sell at the shows? The fastest moving snake at any reptile show, believe it or not, is a normal ball python. It's kind of wild. When I went to my first reptile show, I had all these beautiful snakes, and everyone kept coming up to the table buying all my normals. It was like the first thing that went, and they're like the cheapest thing. Of course, a lot of people are there, they just want a pet, so they're looking for a really inexpensive pet, which is kind of crazy. And it seems like with the normals, a lot of people kind of compete over the prices of the normals because they go really fast. Some people will sell them for 20 bucks, some people will sell them for 50. And then when all the normals run out, you can actually increase even more than 50 because people are just looking for the cheapest snake, which is kind of crazy. All right, what would you breed? A super pastel leopard fire to. Wow, so you have 2 copies of pastel, the leopard and the fire. So the super pastel is a really crazy pattern enhancing combination, especially mixed with the leopard. So I would imagine that would be kind of a really crazy combination. It'll look pretty awesome, that snake right there. So what I would actually do is I'd probably breed that to a pastel or a super pastel, so you can actually get the bright yellow, really scrambled up pattern, and then you have leopard and fire. The fire would really clean up the pastel, the leopard would scramble up the pattern. So you could do like something that has another pattern enhancing gene. So for example, you can actually do like a pastel spot nose or something like that to actually make some crazy combinations. Let's see. Love the videos. Keep it up. Yes, I will try. Set of 6-ing probes are inexpensive on eBay. Yeah, from 10 to 20. So it's kind of tricky to use the probes when you first start out because the snake really has to relax in the tail area, and it kind of takes like really gentle pressure when the snake is completely relaxed. So once you get the hang of probing, it's a little bit tricky with probing too. Hey, we got a new channel member. Thank you. Welcome to Fan Alexander. Awesome. Thank you. Do I have leopards? No, I don't have any leopards here in my collection. So we are at 37 minutes, 81 people on the live. Cool. So I'm going to go for an hour. So it looks like we have about 23 minutes left on the live. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, probe kits are super cheap. Yeah, you can get them. A lot of reptile shows will actually sell the probe kits. Another thing with the probe kit too is you want to make sure to get the lubricating gel, any kind of a water-based gel. As far as you know, you can use like I've actually seen some people do like electrode, kind of like the electrode gel for the ultrasounds. Any kind of a water-based gel for the probe kit too. But you definitely need some kind of lubrication for those. Let's see. Yeah, snakes look so uncomfortable while getting probed. Yeah, so yeah, so I'd say it's harder to probe than it is to pop once you get the probing done. And but I'd say the probing is more accurate and it's safer for the snake. I've actually seen a lot of people buying snakes. They think it's one gender and it turns out to be the other. And a lot of times it's from incorrect popping, usually never from probing. The only time I've ever had problems probing, that's the other thing, is it seems like if you actually have a probe kit and you have the smallest, tiniest probe, that smallest probe is almost too big for a brand new hatchling right out of the egg. So a lot of times you actually have to wait until that ball python is eaten like 5 or 6 meals, get a little bit of weight on it until that probe will actually fit in there so you can be 100% sure. I've actually made a lot of mistakes probing, and it was when the snakes were too small for my smallest probe. Of course, I don't know if certain probe kits have smaller probes in them too. How's the ultrasound been working out? Ultrasound's been working pretty good. I don't use it a whole lot, but every now and then I'll pull it out. Let's see. Have you heard or tried the Da Vinci's Miracle Supplement that'll get snakes eating again? I haven't heard about that. Are there antibiotics and vitamins I can give a regular ball python at home? Not that I know of as far as antibiotics. The problem is snakes really don't eat that much and they really don't drink that much. So it's not like you can put antibiotics in their drinking water to where they'll constantly drink on a regular basis where you can get antibiotics in them. The only thing I can imagine is if you actually went to a veterinarian where they could inject the antibiotics into the snake, and you have to really be careful where you're injecting them into. I think, for like respiratory infections and stuff like that, they recommend injecting antibiotics. But as far as I know, there's nothing you can really do. I've actually seen some people take vitamins and put them in the rodents before they feed the rodents to the snakes. And some people say that will actually increase the growth rate of a snake by putting vitamins in the rodents, but you really don't have to do it because a rodent is 100% complete diet for a ball python. Let's see. Hey, we got another super chat. All right. Do you recommend snake insurance like nationwide? So I've actually thought, when I first started in ball pythons, I was kind of thinking about snake insurance too, but the problem is say, for example, when the whole scaleless head craze was going on, and scaleless heads were worth like $45,000 for a scaleless head. And here we are like 5 years later, you can actually get a scaleless head for like, I think it's like, just a few $100s compared to 45,000. So the kind of the hard part is trying to keep up with the change in prices in ball pythons, especially something so dramatic like that, and trying to justify it to an insurance agency to saying, hey, something that was worth $45,000 5 years ago is now worth just a few $100s. I think it'd be kind of hard to kind of figure out the cost over the long haul with the different genes. Some genes increase in price and some significantly drop. And I think it'd be pretty tough to actually figure out the whole insurance part of it with that. I thought about it though, because you have a lot of money invested in your ball python industry. Probably what you could actually do is invest in, you could probably do insurance on like your like the racking systems and the kind of the hardware that you have in your reptile room. So if you had like a house fire or something like that, you could probably add something to your house insurance to cover the cost of your racks. I don't know. It'd be kind of tricky with the snakes though. Let's see, what higher end recessive do you see the most potential in? So I've actually seen a lot of really high end clowns. So I think the clown would be, pretty much a long-term high end recessive as far as working a lot of the new genes into the clowns. As far as another recessive, I'm not. I have to think about that one to see what would be a really good recessive as far as making some really a lot of really amazing combinations. I know with a lot of the new ones, like for example, actually the sunset and the monsoon, I think there's the potential to make some good money with those. But as far as working other genes in, they can be really visually dominant. So there's like pros and cons to a lot of those genes. But as far as the other recessives, probably just the clowns and the pieds probably have the most potential out of all the recessives. Are colubrids harder than ball pythons? No, actually, I would think the colubrids are easier. You could actually, a lot of your colubrids, like the king snakes, the corn snakes, you can actually double clutch a lot of those and get an incredible amount of hatchlings from a lot of those. Sometimes the hatchlings can be really small and it's harder to feed some of those hatchlings. And the other hard part about a lot of your colubrids is a lot of times they won't sell for the same money as ball python. So you produce a lot of snakes that are less expensive. So you're doing a lot more selling of more inexpensive snakes. So there's kind of pros and cons to colubrids versus ball pythons. And I've seen a lot of other snakes. I don't think there's anything that really comes close to the variety of genes in ball pythons, where you can make so many different combinations. And that's one of the things that really sold me in ball pythons. What's my opinion on the sunset? Everyone, it seems like a lot of the big breeders say the sunset is the place to really invest and make some good money. Seems like the sunset's been really holding its value in the long haul, which is pretty amazing. Do Burmese pythons grow faster than retics? I think they grow a little bit slower. I think retics can grow super fast just because of how much they eat and their metabolism. Seems like it's the metabolism of a reticulated python is a lot higher than a Burmese python. All right, so we're at 44 minutes. We have another 15 to go on my last live stream for a while. I don't know when I'm gonna do another live stream, but yeah. It's pretty fun doing live streams and answering some questions. All right, let's see. Is it possible to make a double recessive ultramel albino? Yes, you can, as long as they're not compatible. So sometimes you can't. For example, if you have the albino and the candy, if you breed those together, you'll get candinos with one copy of the albino and one copy of the candy. But a lot of times you can actually get the double recessives. As a matter of fact, you can make triple recessives too, which is pretty amazing. All right, let's see. I have seen clown pies. Yes. Should I breed ASFs? I am breeding, if I'm breeding ball pythons. So if you're breeding African softers, it can kind of be a double-edged sword. So African softers don't get as big as rats. So most people will say even a full-size African softer is not too big for a ball python, which is the advantage. Although some ball pythons can get stuck on African softers where they won't eat any rats. And a lot of times you'll actually, if you sell those snakes, you'll have to say this is an African softer only, kind of like saying this is a mouser only ball python. It's a little bit harder of a sell because people have to figure out where they can get African softers, especially if it's live African softers, because keep in mind, I still think the African softers are in the Lacey Act, where it's illegal to transport African softers across state lines, which is kind of problematic. Hey, we got another super chat. Thank you, Lily. All right. So yeah, the other thing with African softers is they don't grow as fast as rats or mice. They're almost like pets. I've actually had them a few times. And it's like my rats, just the regular rats, will have litter after litter after litter, and then my African softers will maybe think about having one litter of offspring while I'm just getting all these other rats, to feed on my ball python. So yeah, so I'd say you could probably do African softers on the side, but I would mainly do rats and mice, mainly rats for ball pythons if you can. Usually for mice, I just do mice for the hatchling ball pythons when they're starting out. All right, African softers chew out of almost everything. So kind of the interesting thing is I actually have the ARS rodent racks, and I have yet to have one chew mark on any of my tubs from African softers, from rats, or from mice. So if you're looking for some tubs that are pretty much rodent proof for years and years and years, let me tell you, the ARS rodent racks is definitely the way to go. Christopher Williams, Bobby, yes, this is Bobby. Bobby is doing great. He just shut out recently. He's looking really good. Let's see. Has Bobby ever gone to the bathroom while around your neck? As a matter of fact, I actually have a video. I don't know. I don't remember which one it was. I have like 1,100 videos on YouTube, and on one of them, it was one of my early videos when the video quality wasn't that good. And I was sitting here talking about something, and Bobby like peed all over my shirt, just started squirting on me all over. And I actually left it in the video. It was so hilarious. But yeah, that was pretty much the only time that Bobby has ever peed on me. As a matter of fact, he actually drew blood from my hand once. I think he was yawning or something. And I reached back and I think I put my hand right in his mouth as soon as he yawned. And he actually drew blood. I was like bleeding all over the place, which is kind of crazy. It kind of freaked me out. But he's never really, he's never tried to bite me or anything. Bobby looks bigger than normal. Yeah, he's a pretty big snake. He's about 2,800 grams. Hey, we got another super chat. What is going on? Jacob, thank you for the super chat. All right, males, banana, pastel, yellow belly, spider, axanthic. Females, super pastel, yellow belly, calico, yellow belly, albino head, axanthic. Prioritize combos. I currently only make snow. So there's a couple different ways you can go about breeding your first combinations. So a lot of times what you can do is you can actually sit down and kind of make a chart of all the combinations, figure out which combinations you could potentially get with all the different combinations, and then look at each one individually and see which one looks the best as far as the visual appearance and go after the best looking combinations. Another way you can actually do it is you can actually look at the price of all those combinations. I actually did that when I started out. I had all these different snakes and I was like, all right, if I breed these two together, I'll get possibly all these combinations. And if you actually go over to Morphmarket and look at all the combinations, you can figure out the kind of the rough prices of all of your offspring, and you can go after the money. And usually it's actually good to do that when you're first starting out, because of course you have a lot of money invested and you're trying to recoup a lot of that investment and just kind of survive the first couple of years breeding ball python. So you can actually do it that way. But if I actually looked at some of these genes, let's see. So they actually have a banana, pastel, yellow belly. So sometimes with the bananas, the pastel and the yellow belly can kind of be hidden underneath. Sometimes it's kind of hard to pick them out. Spider, axanthic. So the axanthic is recessive. And then you have, for the females, super pastel, yellow belly. So if you breed that to your banana, pastel, yellow belly, you could potentially get ivories. With the calico yellow belly, you could do the same. And albino het axanthic, probably what I would do is I would do the albino het axanthic to the axanthic. Looks like you're doing snow, so that would be a good combination. But yeah, so you could do, there's a lot of things you could do with that combination. So yeah, so probably what I would do with the I'd do the calico yellow belly with the spider. You could make some pretty awesome combinations with that. You would get the calider or collider with the calico and the spider, which would be pretty awesome. And then the yellow belly on top of that. If you hit all the genes, that would be a really amazing combination. All right, so let's see. All right. Hoping for some suggestions on feeding a ball python or refusing to feed, starting to lose considerable weight. I've tried everything that I can think of, and the vet recommendations. So what I would probably do on a really super picky ball python that you're having problems with, I would try a live jumbo adult mouse. Usually ball pythons won't refuse a mouse, and especially if it's a live mouse. Most of the time you can get them feeding on a live mouse. I'd probably just try one and then follow up right after the live mouse with something else. But most of the times you can get them back on food with like a live jumbo mouse. Let's see. Don't forget to subscribe, the smash button, subscribe, comment below. I usually don't say this stuff in my videos. Yeah, it's like I just do videos every day, and it seems like people eventually will subscribe and comment and smash the like button. So and I don't know. I suppose it helps you in the long run, but it just kind of, a lot of people, they'll start their videos that way where they'll go on for about 30 seconds talking about all this stuff. But yeah, thank you for recommending that people subscribe. Yeah, smash the like button. All right, let's see. Let's see. I started watching YouTube videos about a year ago, and I only had one ball python. Now I watch about 20 different YouTubers and have over 60 ball pythons. Yeah, it gets pretty addictive with the ball pythons, let me tell you. It's the kind of the big thing is, it seems like you buy, a couple ball pythons here and there at the beginning. You're just kind of going crazy buying them. And then you have your first big year where you produce like 100 hatchlings, and then you end up with like 200 snakes, and you're like, all right, I don't need to buy any more ball pythons. It kind of switches when you have your first big breeding year, which is kind of crazy. Let's see. Chris and Bobby are live. Yes, we are live for another 6 minutes. We're going to go for 6 more minutes on the live stream. So we're going to do an hour-long live stream. Cool. 88 people still on the live stream. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Ball pythons are like tattoos. You just can't get one. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I actually have over on my merchandise, you can go to my merch and over on Teespring, and I have a t-shirt over there that says ball pythons are like potato chips. You just can't have one, which is kind of a cute saying. We just kind of thought of that when we made that t-shirt. Let's see. Do you have any YouTube tips for beginners? Yeah, good luck. Yeah. My sister and I started a YouTube channel on our animals. Both love your channel, so we were wondering if you have any advice. So YouTube is pretty tricky. So there's a lot of different things you can go after doing YouTube. As a matter of fact, if I start YouTube over again, I don't know if I do ball pythons, because there's other things you can actually go after to grow quicker and make more money, like doing affiliate marketing or something like that. So when you start YouTube, you kind of have to think, well, when you're first starting out, you can just kind of be all over the place. And a lot of people, what they do is they kind of, what I did is I actually was doing cow videos and snake videos and stuff about, my dogs and everything else. And it seemed like every time I did a ball python video, I had more views. So I started doing more and more ball pythons. It seems like a lot of people do that. They'll just kind of do random stuff, and then whatever gets the most views, they'll start doing more videos that are similar to that as far as growing your channel. But a lot of times, say for example, I would say once you're into it and you have a few hundred videos, you really want to stay on one focused topic. Like for me, it's just only ball pythons. So you get a lot of people kind of binge watching your channel with ball pythons. And say, for example, if you're actually thinking about doing a ball python channel, what you can actually do is you could actually look at my channel, look at my most popular videos, and then copy my video ideas for some of the most popular, look for like trending topics. That's how a lot of people start out. But let me tell you, once you kind of like at where I am, where you have like 1,100 videos, you really can't go after trending topics anymore. You're just trying to find something new and different. So it's a crazy ride doing YouTube. Yeah, I pretty much do YouTube full time, YouTube and breeding snakes. That is my job. Yeah. How often do you feed your snakes? I actually offer my snakes every single week. Once a week I offer my snakes. So my reticulated pythons, I'll actually feed pretty much one big rat a day, kind of back to back over several days, because I wanted to use up my rats. They really could use something a little bit bigger, but my ball pythons I just offer once a week. And then kind of during the breeding season, since I'm breeding most of my males, I'll kind of split it up over, like, maybe offer food maybe every week and a half until I'm kind of through the breeding season, just because of the whole schedule of the breeding. And then of course, as far as breeding season, if you're coming up on the beginning of the breeding season, I'll actually double up, do like 2 rats a week on my females to really increase the amount of food that I'm putting into my females. Seems like you have better odds of the females laying eggs if you can increase the amount of food. All right, leopard, blackhead, spot nose, or super asphalt? Oh, good question. So leopard, blackhead, spot nose, or super asphalt? So if we actually so is that the combination leopard, blackhead, spot nose? I would personally, well, that'd be a tough call. I would probably go with the super asphalt. Super asphalt, because you could actually breed it to an ivory and you would make all freeways with that combination, which would be pretty awesome. Of course, the leopard, blackhead, spot nose, that is a pretty awesome combination. All right, let's see. Let's see. I feed every week. My dream is YouTube and breeding snakes. So yeah. So that used to be my dream, doing YouTube and breeding snakes, until you're actually doing it. And then essentially what it is, it's like every day is speech class, and you got to come up with a new topic to talk about and kind of have your outline. It's like you're in film and video. You don't realize that when you're first starting out, that it's essentially speech class every day for the next 3 years, which is kind of crazy once you're into it. Breeding snakes is pretty cool though, especially doing YouTube about snakes, because now that I sell snakes, it's super easy to sell snakes. That's kind of the advantage of doing YouTube around snakes, kind of both at the same time, which is, you know, I could probably produce 10 times as many snakes and I wouldn't have any problem selling snakes. Are you on Instagram? No, I'm not on. The only thing I'm really on is YouTube. I tried different platforms here and there, and I kind of tanked on all of them. I just don't have time for doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's pretty much a full-time job just doing videos every day over on YouTube. I tried Facebook for a while, and I got like 5,000 friends in about 2 weeks, and it was just so overwhelming. I couldn't keep up with Facebook and YouTube. So I'm just pretty much focused just on YouTube. Has Bobby ever went to the bathroom on your shoulders? Only once. I actually have it on an old video, which is kind of crazy. Let's see. How do you tell an asphalt? Any markers is the same as gravel? So asphalt is pretty much the same as yellow belly as far as the markers. So you really can't tell the difference between the asphalt, the gravel, the yellow belly, the spark, or the specter. I think all those genes in the yellow belly complex pretty much look all identical. Have I ever heard of the jigsaw? Yes, the jigsaw is the lesser and the pinstripe, right? I think jigsaw, yeah, jigsaw. Are you going to produce a bamboo pie? No, it's probably not, because is it Mojave pin? The jigsaw. All right, let me look that up. I got it wrong. How could I mess up the jigsaw? The jigsaw is like so simple, right? All right, yeah. As a matter of fact, the jigsaw. I'm looking it up here on Morphmarket. Mojave pinstripe. I think on my last live stream, I was like, yeah, the jigsaw is the lesser pinstripe. All right, yeah. It is the Mojave pinstripe. Thank you for the correction. Yes, I've heard of the jigsaw. Yeah, the jigsaw and the chainsaw too. So you're going to produce a bamboo pied. So a bamboo pied is essentially an all white snake. Sometimes the bamboo pieds can have a little bit of gray up on top of the head, but I probably won't do a bamboo pied because it's just a completely white pied. Have I ever fed my snakes chicks? No, I haven't tried chickens on my snakes. So yeah, I probably won't try chicks. I have, as a matter of fact, I do have an incubator and I can hatch out some baby chickens, but they're just so cute. I don't know if I'd enjoy watching my snake eat baby chickens. Let's see. Have you ever had any of your family or friends in your videos? Every now and then I'll do some people in my videos, but the problem is yeah, it's kind of hard being in the spotlight because a lot of people that you don't know can know you. a lot of times it can be kind of awkward, especially like reptile shows, especially if you're not used to it. And a lot of people don't really like to be kind of out in the spotlight like that, where a lot of people that don't know them come up to you. So I kind of try to avoid keeping other people out of my videos. How would you get your male to feed during breeding? That is a good question. Most of my males go off of food. I just keep offering every week or every week and a half on my males, and most of them will actually refuse to eat until you get past the pairing. As a matter of fact, I'm just about ready to wrap up my pairing here, and I'll separate my males and my females. And usually once you separate the males and the males will go back on food pretty soon, and they'll gain back all that weight they lost during the fast, the breeding fast. Can I be in one of your apprentices? Yeah, so I don't really have anyone that I really work with. I'm pretty much just a solo YouTuber. I don't really have anyone here up at the house. But I don't know, maybe at one of the reptile shows, I might be looking for someone to do some of the camera work to kind of follow me around the reptile show and kind of film a lot of this stuff. So maybe that would be one of the positions that I might have available first, as far as bringing someone into helping me out in the reptile business. I've been feeding my snakes every 5 days, sometimes sooner, but no weight gain. Yeah, sometimes it depends on the snake too, as far as the weight gain and the age. It seems like the older snakes, if they eat that often, they gain weight faster. The younger snakes, really depends on the snake. All right, let's see. Should I not breed a snake from PetSmart? No, I think it's okay if you breed a snake from PetSmart. That should be fine. So the thing with PetSmart that I find, one of the things you have to really watch out for is sometimes they'll actually buy snakes that are like really super young hatchlings that need to be on live mice. It's pretty much the only thing they'll eat when they're right out of the egg. And if they get them too small in the store and they don't have enough meals into them, and you buy that snake, a lot of people don't realize that you pretty much have to feed them live mice to really get them to really take off. So that's one of the things that a lot of times PetSmart won't feed them live mice, which can be kind of problematic. All right, let's see. So we're actually 5 minutes past an hour. Let's see. We're up to 93 people, which is kind of crazy. I guess I could go just a little bit longer here. Let's see. F10 nebulizer treatment. So I actually did a video doing F10 as kind of the F10 vapor for respiratory infection. And I kind of regret doing it because technically it's an off-label treatment for treating a snake for respiratory infections, which pretty much would be frowned on by any veterinarian. Going off-label with something like that, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely recommend bringing something like that to a veterinarian. All right, let's see. Am I still working with scaleless head projects? Yes. So I did sell some of my scaleless head. I am down to 3 females. Actually, I have 2 lemon blast scaleless heads and 1 pastel scaleless head. And then I have 1 male scaleless head that's a lesser scaleless head male. So probably, I don't know if they'll be ready next year, but they're getting really close. They're like 1,200 grams, 1,300 grams, but they're on a really long fast right now. So as a matter of fact, actually, they just took a rodent just this week. So I'm hoping maybe next fall, maybe in October, those scaleless heads will be ready, which is pretty awesome that I could produce my first scaleless. All right, let's see. Is it worth investing in the scaleless? I think it's worth investing in this. It's kind of funny because the scaleless project was really super popular. Everyone invested in it, and then it kind of tanked, and then everybody's getting out of it. As a matter of fact, I've actually seen a lot of big breeders that say they're not doing any scaleless, which means that potentially, if you did scaleless, you could corner the market and do a lot of scaleless and really specialize with the scaleless, which a lot of people aren't doing. Any interest in the monsoon project? Yes. If someone gave me a het monsoon, I would definitely take a het monsoon, but they're really super expensive right now. But yeah, if I could afford 2 visual monsoons, I would definitely get into the project, but it costs probably, $15,000 or $20,000 or something crazy like that. Let's see. I tried popping mine, and just like the vids, she's a female. Yeah, so yeah, I've seen a lot of people that are brand new trying to pop snakes. And let me tell you, if you're trying to pop it and you think you have a female, it might be a male. I would definitely find someone who's experienced in popping. When do we have more snakes on Morphmarket? Probably mid-summer, mid to late summer. So I don't have any eggs yet. I'm expecting eggs here pretty soon. So when I get eggs, it'll be another 2 months before those eggs hatch, and then probably another 2 to 3 weeks before they'll be ready for sale. So I'm thinking maybe 3 months at the earliest if I got eggs today, which is kind of my timeline as far as getting new hatchlings. All right, going to message you about the apprenticeship camera holder. All right. Yes, if you're in Colorado, yes, I could use a camera holder, someone to follow me around the shows to do a lot of the videos. But that probably won't be until the fall, depending on how the whole virus thing is with the variants and all that, wherever this kind of crazy virus goes. So I probably won't go until it's really super safe. All right. 67% of you guys are watching and not subscribed. It's kind of interesting. I actually look at some of my stats, and a lot of people that watch aren't subscribed. But if you actually look at a lot of my stats, it seems like most people only watch about 2.5 videos on average out of all my videos. So I think I just passed like 8 million views on my channel. So you can get a lot of statistics from a lot of that. But if you're not really into ball pythons and you don't want to get recommended a lot of ball python stuff, you really don't have to subscribe. So if you do subscribe, a lot of times it'll keep offering you my content. So I really don't push the subscribe button unless you really want more ball python content on a regular basis. So it's pretty much up to you guys. So we are at 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I think I'm going to call it right here. We have 92 people on the line still, 81 thumbs up, and we did pretty good on Super Chat, $50.95 on the Super Chat. I definitely appreciate the Super Chat. It all goes to feed the cows and the ducks, which eat me out of house and home, which is kind of crazy. But they do help. I actually do a lot of cow stuff and duck stuff in some of my videos once in a while. What's my Instagram? I don't have an Instagram. So I'm just on YouTube and Morphmarket, and that's pretty much it. Only on Morphmarket if you're interested in buying a snake. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can leave a comment under any of my videos, and I'll definitely try to respond. I get so many comments now. That's a lot of times I can't even keep up with what's going on here on the live chat. There's so much stuff. My Animal House says, go 12 hours. Yeah. So I actually did 3 12 hours in a row. And then as a matter of fact, I was going to do another 12-hour, and I lost my voice so bad I couldn't even talk. And I was like wiped out for a whole week. I couldn't even talk. It was pretty bad. So, usually if I go about an hour, I can feel it in my throat, because as a matter of fact, right before this, I actually did another video. So I've been talking already for like 2.5 hours, pretty much nonstop as far as doing videos today. So that is, I think I'm going to call it at 1 hour, 11 minutes, 46 seconds. So that is pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys. Already 87 people still on the line. And I don't know if I'm going to do some lives next weekend. I haven't decided yet. It seems like the live stream doesn't do really well as far as my statistics over on YouTube. It seems like it kind of tanks my channel. It doesn't really like the live streams, but it's always interesting to come over and kind of catch up with all the people's questions and kind of connect with everyone too. A lot of times when I'm doing videos, I see so many questions that I just don't have time to get to them with everything that's going on. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for all your questions, and I will see you in tomorrow's video, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'll definitely be posting another video. So that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.